The Nobel laureate prime minister's lies and deceit are plunging Ethiopia into a dark morass. Nobel Peace Prize equals license for genocide. The current genocidal Prime Minister of Ethiopia is proudly sponsored by the Luciferian Occident and Orient, so the Ethiopia blood sacrifice assures Satan will keep him in power. Since the crypto-Muslim and Oromo ethno-nationalist Abiy Ahmed Ali came in 2018 to power, Muslim extremism is gaining a foothold in Ethiopia. Paradoxically, Ethiopia morphed into a state of siege less than 1 week after its Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Norwegian Nobel Committee has awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2019 to Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Dr. Abiy Ahmed, we are aware that during the course of your life you have walked several different paths. You were born into a traditional family of simple means, to a mother who was an Amara Orthodox Christian and to a father who was an Oromo Muslim. The World Food Programme is the world's largest humanitarian organization addressing hunger and promoting food security. In 2015, eradicating hunger was adopted as one of UN's Sustainable Development Goals. The WFP is the UN's primary instrument for realizing this goal.
This Somali child is just 16 months old. He's dangerously close to dying from hunger, a victim of what may be the worst and least reported humanitarian crisis anywhere. The food supposed to keep him alive flows from this vast warehouse in neighbouring Kenya. 3.5 million Somalis are depending on this aid reaching them this year. The food is administered by the UN's World Food Programme and costs donor governments around $1 billion. But Channel 4 News has been on the ground in Somalia, investigating just how much in this food chain reaches those who need it most. Somali refugees say that much of this aid will simply never reach them. And now the world's biggest humanitarian agency stands accused not just of violating its own principles, but of losing control of a feeding programme meant for millions of desperate people. Western journalists can't travel here, so we sent a Somali member of our team into the war zone that is Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. And what he discovered about the feeding of the country's 3.5 million was profoundly shocking. First, he went to the city's main market. Here, the traders tried to stop him from filming what's for sale. Not hundreds, but thousands of sacks of World Food Programme supplies, maize, wheat and cooking oil, meant for refugees from the country's civil war. The daylight robbery here, every match for Somalia's piracy at sea, with businessmen claiming some WFP officials in Somalia are part of the illegal trade. The WFP says it can't stop some food being siphoned off, though its drivers are docked money if they don't deliver. But as we continued our investigation, we were told food was being stolen all along the supply chain. In this camp, the elders told us WFP guards demand money for ration cards, and without those ration cards, families can't eat.
We've only been issued 200 ration cards instead of the 700 we need. We were forced to pay for these cards. We're also forced to pay a fee for the armed guards the WFP come here with. This isn't a one-off, it's regular. If we don't pay up, they just cover the truck up, open fire on us and drive away. Even on the last trip they fired at us, and eventually I paid the money myself.
The WFP say it's true that local militia may demand protection money, but it is never heard of it involving WFP personnel. The food racketeering hub is this Mogadishu's main market. The WFP says food resale is just small scale, that you can't stop some refugees from selling what they're given. That any major diversion of aid and its network of staff would know. But Channel 4 News counted 10 warehouses and 15 shops involved in the trade, with most of the aid coming from Somalia's biggest donor, the United States. Revealing this lucrative business could get these stallholders shot. But we wanted to find out how the trade works, and eventually several businessmen did agree to talk. Many traders told us of fictional refugee camps, which are invented in order to be allocated food, which can then be sold.
You go to the WFP office and fill in an application form to create a camp. When we receive the food, we give out some and then divide the rest between ourselves and the WFP guys who negotiated the deal.
Another confessed that stealing food from the needy was a real shame, but he said business is business.
We buy aid from WFP staff directly or from people they employ. The goods are freely available and you can buy as much as you like. But we usually buy no more than 500 to 1,000 sacks at a time. Just a ton or half a ton a day can be shifted more discreetly.
Businessmen have told us that your staff are selling the food, that it's even being sold from the warehouse.
We have had cases in the past that happened. We have investigated them, that staff is long gone, and they will happen. But it is not unprevailing. But yes, you have your problem areas.
It's pretty important, isn't it? Otherwise the donors will turn around and say, well, we're not funding it.
No, and that is our credibility then. So we will investigate those cases, and sometimes we find out, and sometimes we don't find out, and etc. etc. But we do, and we take action if we find anything to be wrong, and we have many of those cases in the past.
The WFP says it's committed to transparency, that it's increased its staff and independent monitoring, that it takes allegations extremely seriously, and that it's not even heard of fictional camps before. And though the UN has admitted to us that thousands of sacks have gone missing in the last few months, the WFP insists its operation is under control.
So you can say with your head held high that the aid is going to the right place. And these donors needn't worry.
Absolutely. Relative to the environment and with all the difficulty, we're doing a very good job. And the donors know it.
But what we've revealed tells these donors a different story. Abdullahi Noor, just 16 months old and fighting for his life because of a lack of food and water. In a humanitarian emergency so rarely filmed that its horrors are almost completely hidden from the outside world.